Viewer voice messages, speakpipe.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, get on in here. Let's see what today brings us. Okay, so first, I had to show you all this. So the NFL is doing their top 100 list. Number 98, Bryce Young. Whoa. 98 seems a little high, doesn't it? Maybe 98 in the NFC South, or I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. I can't wait to see the rest of this list. But I was thinking about it. I was like, I wonder where I'd have Bryce Young, like if I had to do a list. So real quick, back of the napkin math, we go to calculator.com. Let's say, because we could agree, like the top 10 running backs are probably going to be higher than Bryce Young, right? So you go 10, okay, then probably the top, like 20 wide receivers? Okay, that sounds about right. What about like offensive linemen? The top 10 offensive linemen? Okay. Top 5 tight ends? That sounds about right. All right. Then you go to the defensive side of the ball. Probably the top 10 defensive linemen. That seems a little short, TBH. Probably the top 15 defensive linemen. You think about edge rushers, interior, a lot of people there. So let's go 15. Top 15 defensive linemen. Top 10 cornerbacks, something like that. Top 15 linebackers, probably. If you got, bunch of different linebackers. I think 15 sounds about right. Top 5 safeties, all probably higher than Bryce Young. That gets you to 90. Okay, so, and that's not including special teams, not including returners. So if he's the 20th best quarterback, which seems like it would be kind of high, but let's just say he's the 20th best quarterback, that gets you to 110. And again, I think I was being kind of nice with some of those numbers there. So I'd have him, I could see the conversation starting probably in that 110 world, somewhere in there. But when I saw 98, I was like, man, that's kind of crazy. That seems high for Bryce. So let's go ahead and get to the voicemails and see what people want to talk about today. We're going to start off with Nick.
James.
Hey, man, how's it
Face
going?
of the franchise.
The best in the business.
So what's up, man?
What's up, dude?
I just want to tell you, I was listening for a few months, and I finally subscribed. I don't even know what took me so long, but I'm going to get right into it. What do you think will be the next year's revamp? So this year we revamped special teams
Everything.
and offensive line. Do you think next year is going to be the defensive line? Do you think we'll have to revamp the secondary if this one, doesn't live up to what we hope? And also, from this point on, we have Jordyn Tyson. How would you feel if we went Downs or Delane at this point? So right now we are in June.
If we drafted Caleb Downs, is that the question? If we would have drafted him instead of Tyson?
From this point on, we have Jordyn Tyson.
Yeah.
How would you feel if we went Downs or Delane at this point? So right now we are in June.
Yeah, so like if we would have drafted him, I mean, hard to tell. I think just knowing what they did with the safeties and the star cornerback role with Sanker, Reed, and Blackman, it's like, all right, I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. One, obviously, Downs probably would have been playing where Sanker is. So I'm all right with the setup right now. I don't think it's not, I'm not upset about it. There's the same question remains, though, before the draft where, okay, well, Jordyn Tyson is going to have to get on the field and show me one way or the other, but I'm fully okay with holding out and waiting to see how it plays out. But you can't argue with weapons, offensive weapons for Tyler Shuck. Now, as far as the other question, first of all, thank you for the subscribe, but the question mark is the secondary. That's probably the lightest room as far as the safeties are pretty much set. Linebacker too. I mean, Kate Ellis, I guess you could say bringing in a free agent, but I think I don't want to say revamp because it makes it sound like you're tearing down, just rebuilding the entire group. But I think you add, if you're looking to add, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the next area to add a star player or a high impact player would be DB or linebacker, if I had to guess. But appreciate you calling, man. Thank you. All right, next up in Kellen We Trust. This is 8 seconds, so this is quick.
Week 13. The Packers suck. and the Saints will shock. Thank you.
There you go. I mean, nothing else I need to say. There's nothing else I really need to say right there. Next up, we've got Carter is up.
What's up, Face of the Franchise?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Hope you're having a good day. Hope everything's going well. Just want to say one quick thing that I've been thinking about. I really do feel like we, as an organization and fan base, really do take Chris Olave for granted. Like you've said in past videos, like he could be sitting out and not doing anything. He could be waiting for his new contract, demanding a new contract, but no, Chris is out there working with the guys, teaching the young guys, doing everything he can to be practicing, and he's not complaining. He's not a diva. He's not like a DK Metcalf. And I really do feel like we take him for granted, which is pretty sad. I mean, he's an all-pro wide receiver, and people still don't think he's a wide receiver one. I really do feel like he's underappreciated as us as Saints fans and the front office of how Chris is humble, and he's not flashy, and he's not talking. Like, he's just a humble dude, locks in and grinds. Like, he knows what he's doing, and I appreciate that out of him. Just wanted to say that. You'll probably agree with me, I hope, so appreciate it. Have a good one.
There you go. I'll let Carter cook because Carter was cooking. And yeah, I mean, y'all know how I feel about this, but I think Chris is, because he just goes to work, because he's not a diva, because he hasn't been slamming the table and doing anything like that. Like, I think he does go underappreciated. I think similar to Kellen Moore. I think Kellen Moore in the coaching cycle, and even before the first year, I think it hurt him that he was soft-spoken and intelligent and had a baby face and whatever. And if you don't think that's true, just go back to what some people were saying during his first season, that he couldn't get the respect of the locker room. He couldn't lead men. That people were actually saying that about one of the most winning college quarterbacks of all time, simply because he is soft-spoken and has a baby face. It's just one of those weird human nature kind of things. But I mean, Chris Olave being drafted by the Saints, being an all-pro, and then his own fans saying, yeah, he's not a wide receiver one. It's just kind of, it is a very interesting paradox for sure. All right, next up, let's go with Tristan.
Hey, James. I have a quick question for you, because this is one of like the few things that I disagree with you on.
Okay.
I really don't agree with you saying nobody wanted to face the Saints in the playoffs last year, how they made it. I get that you said they had nothing to, like, well, in the previous video talking about it, I get that they have really nothing to play for, and there's nothing to lose, but the roster wasn't good. Like, everybody was injured. Olave wouldn't have been there. Vele wouldn't have been there. I mean,
well, not in the last game, but assuming they're healthy, like assuming the Saints were healthy. I don't mean a week 18 specifically, but assuming they are healthy, that is not a team you wanted to play. And that was a team that was getting better. In the playoffs, the team you do not want to play is the team that's peaking. You don't want to play the team that is getting better and ascending, and they're seeming to kind of catch fire a little bit. Like that. That is not the team you want to play. And especially, you don't want to play a hot quarterback. You don't want to play a guy who's just wheeling and dealing and letting it rip and seemingly has the game fully under control, which is what Tyler Shuck had. You know, it's like the Joe Flacco, Nick Foles thing where, are they the best quarterback in that playoff? No, absolutely not. But are they the hottest quarterback in that stretch? Yeah. So that's what I mean by they didn't want to play the Saints. I'm not saying that, you know, the Saints would have won the Super Bowl or something if they got in the playoffs. But, and no shade to Panthers fans, but fully shade to Panthers fans, I can guarantee you teams would have rather play the Panthers than the Saints in the first round of the playoffs last year if they had a choice.
the teams we beat last.
But yeah, if Evan Hull is your starting running back, and Devon Vele is out, and Chris Olave is out, and yeah, I mean, then it's a totally different thing. But the Saints with Tyler Shuck in totality, like just look at his stretch, you don't want to play that team.
Last year weren't exactly front runners for the NFC. That doesn't mean you can't like judge our team, obviously, like Shuck, but I don't think that anything would have been done in the playoffs. So if you could elaborate more on that, I'd love to hear more. But also, I just watched your comments on the NFC South video. Let me tell you. Mushy peas and carrots, man. Mushy peas and carrots. Absolutely funny. Can't believe they are this delusional, man. Anyways,
It's just unbelievable.
thank you.
Appreciate the call, man. Yeah. Hey, I'm always happy to elaborate. I'm always happy to. 99% of the time, I actually just had this conversation on Twitter. I won't pull it up, but I was talking about the Miami Heat and the Giannis trade, and I said I don't think the Heat starting five is great. Like I quote tweeted the starting five, and I said this starting five is not, just kind of stinks. Guy was like, "You don't know ball, stick to football," and then I said, "There's no shooting, no creativity. They got to add a lot more if they want to be anything more than a play-in team." And he said, "Well, they're not done adding pieces." So that's what I just said. We agree. Exactly. If you think they need to add pieces and you think the starting five isn't good enough, which is what I'm saying. So 99% of the time, it takes just a little bit of elaborating, and then everyone comes full cycle to the superstar. If I had to guess, after that, a little bit of explanation, I think we'd both agree, like, okay, yeah, I see. Wasn't specifically talking about either that individual last week or, going on a run, but the way Tyler Shuck had the Saints playing, the way Devon Vele was playing, Chris Olave was playing, the way they were coming together, the defense was picking up. That is not a team that you want to take lightly. And especially in the Saints situation, they would have been hosting a playoff. They wouldn't have gotten into the playoffs if they didn't win the division. So they'd be hosting a playoff game, right? So you're telling me that Tyler Shuck's Saints at the end of last year, with the way they were playing, if they were healthy, at home, that is not who you want to see. I'll tell you that. Kind of like a couple of years ago with Tampa. Tampa kind of got hot at the end of the year. Then it's like, man, you don't want to play this team. You be careful. And then, Tampa never really made anything of their window there. But there's always that team in the playoffs that they just kind of hit right at the end there, right at the right time. Chicago kind of had that last year where, whether they were just pulling a rabbit out of a hat or whatever, but you didn't want to play Chicago because they just kind of had that sauce. They just kind of had that motion, as the youth say. All right, next up, K Breezy.
Hey James, it's Kyle.
Hey man, how's it going?
Just a couple quick thoughts. I see some of these negative Saints fans online, and I try to dive into the mind of a skeptical Saints fan, the doom and gloomers, and I think they're just hurt. You know what I mean? I can kind of understand them. I mean, we've been burned so many times in the past decade with the Minneapolis Miracle and the Nola no call, and the year that we started off hot with Jameis, and then he gets injured, and in 2024 we start off best team in the NFL, Super Bowl favorites after 2 weeks, and then injury after injury after injury after injury. Last year, injury. I mean, I get it. Honestly, I do. I mean, you get so excited for the season and you get burned year after year after year. You start having trust issues. I mean, it's like having an ex-girlfriend that cheated on you, and you take it out on your next one because you think that she's going to do the same to you. But at a certain point, optimism is really all you have to cling on to in the off season, and there's no point in being negative about it. It's just, I try to sympathize with these people, and I think they've just been hurt, and couldn't be me though. Couldn't be me. I'm optimistic.
Boom.
I think we're winning 10 games, and the doom and gloomers stay on that side, but I can sympathize with you, and I do kind of understand the mindset a little bit, but be optimistic, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think just blind optimism is the answer either. I think there is a time and a place for reality or negativity. I mean, we were very negative with the Pete Carmichael, Dennis Allen, like that stretch there. We were saying these guys need to go. You know, like Pete Carmichael needs to be fired. This offense is broken. This is not working. Here's why it's not working. You know, we weren't pumping sunshine and rainbows just because we're Saints fans. You know, so when there's a time and a place for that, then absolutely. My whole thing is it has to be a time and a place. If it's not broken and you're telling me it's broken just to say it's broken, then, you know, it's kind of an issue, right? Like the defense. Here's the bottom line. The defense was good last year. Kool-Aid was good last year. Quincy Riley was good last year. All right? So I have an issue with people that say, oh, the defense sucks. It's like, why? Why does the defense suck? I don't trust Kool-Aid. Why? Why do you not trust him? Give me the reason. Give me the answer. You know, Mickey Loomis needs to be fired. What I said this in every video. What do you want a new GM to come in and do? What are you firing him to get? What do you want to make better? What are you unhappy about? You know, and usually that would lead to something that's completely unrelated to Mickey Loomis. But you know, I'm and that's why this channel survives. That's why this channel wins, because we don't do the whiplash thing. There's a fine line with, I'm just going to call it like sports media or whatever. You go too far in the hot take direction, and you know, if everything's a hot take, nothing's a hot take. And then you're just being contrarian to be contrarian. It's like you're playing a character, and you know, you don't actually believe in anything. The other side of it is everything is great all the time. You're going to win every single game. Your team's going to go, you know, undefeated every year. You're going to win the Super Bowl every year. Your quarterback's the best quarterback. Your coach is the best coach. Your guy's going to win MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, and you're never going to lose. At that point, that's not analysis either. You got to be somewhere in that middle, and you got to be able to read what's happening and go with however it goes. We had Tyler Shuck ranked, I think, 21st in our preseason quarterback ranking. That's where I have him. You know, is there room for him to get better? Yeah, absolutely. He could certainly get better. But I'm not putting him in the top 10 after 9 games, even though I love him like a brother. I'm not doing it. You know, so we try and keep things real. In good times, I will tell you things are good. In bad times, I will tell you things are bad. And we also back it up with data, and we break down the box scores. We look at the analytics. I mean, y'all know how the channel rolls. I'm never, ever, ever going to sit here and say, this defense is absolutely ass, if the DVOA is telling me it's the 11th defense in the NFL. I can't do it. I can't sit here and say this quarterback is the worst quarterback I've ever seen if he's 11th in, you know, whatever, EPA. It's like, it's not based in facts at all. We just base stuff in facts. It just so happens that we were on the forefront of seeing this whole turnaround. That once Carmichael got fired and Kubiak came in and things started to shift, and then the Kellen Moore hire, and y'all know how it played out, but we started to kind of see the winds of change, and we started to see what was being built. And sometimes it's harder to do that. It's easier to show up to work and just play the hits, right? It's easy to just play the hits. It's hard to write new music. But for a band, yeah, man, just go play your 10 best songs, catch a check, see you later. Or you want to take the risk of writing new music. Here, we always write new music. Always. You know, we don't do the copy and paste stuff. We don't do whatever. So be negative in times of negativity. Be positive in times of positivity. Don't expect it's always going to be one way or the other way. You know? And that's where the context comes in. You check the box scores. You check the analytics. You check the metrics. You watch my channel. You see in between the lines. And then on to the next one. Right? All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to the next call, which is Leroy Jenkins, a hero of mine.
James, what's up, man?
What's
I
up,
just
dude?
wanted to give you a quick call. I wanted to get a couple of your way too early predictions for the NFL season.
All
Hot
right.
takes,
All right.
worst to first, first to worst, whatever
Okay.
hot takes or predictions that you may have. A few of them, may not be so hot, but I think Miami finishes as the worst team in the NFL by a mile. I think
The Arizona Cardinals exist. They will be the worst team in the NFL by a mile.
Miami and the Jets both win 2 or 3 games.
The Jets will be bad too.
I think Carolina wins 5 games.
I think Carolina struggles this year. I think the schedule's too much for them.
Prediction is for Carolina to win 5 games. I think the Panthers are bad. Their schedule is insane, and it is hilarious to see the optimism around that fan base, and I don't think they are remotely prepared for what's coming.
I mean, a good example of just complete delusional fans, like if you go to the Bryce Young tweet I just showed, like these are real human beings. These are real human beings saying, off by 97 spots, but my quarterback in the top 100, OMG. Like this is like, you might need to have like an intervention. Like, I understand you're a fan, but this is what I'm talking about, where radical optimism's too much. The idea of off by 90, the idea of Bryce Young even being in the top 25, the top 10, the top 50, much less number 1. And I know there's a little bit of that, like, he's leaning into being such a super fan, but I mean, you're borderline living in Shutter Island at that point. 100% deserved. Anyone who says different is just hating. I mean, like, imagine making this image. They're going to be about Lucario Barbosa seeing things clear. They're going to be about 10 offensive linemen left off this list so they can include the 25th best quarterback. Lucario Barbosa seeing things clear, ladies and gentlemen. But you got a lot of insanity going on in those replies, for sure.
I have them winning 5 games. I have New England winning 8 games. But yeah, man, I just want to hear a couple of your like hot takes or predictions, or what do you think? Teams on the your Chicago's of the world, your Minnesotas of the world. Yeah, I'm just curious to hear, man. This
real quick. I can throw some stuff. Just overall thoughts. I think Buffalo wins the AFC East. I think the Jets will be really bad. I think Arizona will be really bad. Arizona will probably be your worst team in the NFL. I think Houston wins the AFC South. I think Houston could be one of those teams that challenges for the AFC. I think Kansas City's being slept on. I've said go ahead and get a ticket for the Rams to play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Kansas City was like a year removed from being the favorite, to win the whole thing, and now because of a down year, they're being kind of slept on. But I also think Justin Herbert with Mike McDaniel could be insane. It always depends on the offensive line and health and all that stuff with the Chargers, but Justin Herbert MVP tickets I don't think is crazy. I think the Giants will be good or better. John Harbaugh, Coach of the Year. Sean McVay, Coach of the Year. Those are a couple things I don't hate the idea of. Let's see. Chicago, I think, takes a step back. Too lucky last year. I think Detroit could go worst to first. I think Kyler Murray will look good in Minnesota. I don't know if he'll have the Sam Darnold resurrection, but I think he'll look good. Atlanta quarterback issues. I think the Saints. I think the Saints win the division. I think Saints will be worst to first. I think they could be a legitimate dark horse in the NFC, especially if Tyler Shuck really takes a step forward. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I think Harold Perkins is probably worth a look in Atlanta. I'd be interested to see how they utilize him. I think the 49ers will be really good this year. They just play in such a tough division. I mean, they were a game away from the 1 seed last year. Again, if they stay healthy, I think their offense will be absolutely insane. Wouldn't be surprised at all if this is the year for them. What else do I got? Any other of these hot takes? I think that's about I think that's it on the hot takes. But yeah, it's just like quick thoughts. But season's almost here, man. I can't wait to really dig into, like, this is like the last month, really, and then we start seeing actual football on the field.
Really excited. This is the most excited I've been for an NFL season in a hot minute. And yes, I do expect the Saints to win. I have them winning 10 games or 11. I think they got it in them. I think people are going to take a step. Even going back to last season, man, there were so many games that were coin flips, even with Rattler and even with us still figuring everything out. I think you give Moore another year in the system with Staley's defense. Got a good feeling about the Saints. So who dat, man? Appreciate everything you do. Give me your hot takes or predictions for the season.
There you go. So there's some of them right there. I mean, the Rams are just so good. I think it's hard to bet against them. So in the AFC, like I said, I think Kansas City's worth a look. I think the Chargers are worth a look. I think Houston has a good year. You're going to see a lot of people take Cincinnati. They're going to do that every year, but it's just Cincinnati's kind of turning into fool's gold until. But if Burrow could just stay healthy, if they could just stay healthy and he could put it together, he's insane. But since he's, it's one of those things like at this point now they just kind of got to show me. Defensive player of the years, I'd look at players like Nick Bonito, Will Anderson, guys like that. See what they could do. They'll be nasty. Houston defense is nasty. If Stroud can be even average, if Stroud can take a baby step, I think Houston's pretty nasty. So Houston, I guess, could be like a sleeper in the AFC. All right, next up, good call. Next up is, let's go with Dwayne the Die Hard.
Deacon Skrmetta is Dwayne the Die Hard back.
What's up,
at
Dwayne?
It again. Seen that you put a 2-minute time limit on your videos, so we're gonna make this fairly quick. Man, I just watched I think it was Nick Underhill. I think he has a YouTube channel or whatever. I forgot what his YouTube channel is called. I don't really watch his videos. I just kind of look at his updates and stuff like that, or watch you react to some of his his interviews. But I really want you to react to
my guy, Nicholas. New Orleans Love Football, obviously, is the YouTube channel, the website. Yeah, so good lad.
the one where he's speaking about the OTAs, primarily day 1 and day 2. I don't know when you'll be doing another viewer voice message.
I'm pretty sure, if I had to guess, I did react to this. So hopefully, this is the video that you're talking about. I did react to
video, but check that out, man. He was talking about how he doesn't like the beating around the bush when it comes to the Kamara situation.
Yeah,
and I can agree with him on that. As far
yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think they've not handled it the best way, just from like an aesthetic standpoint. I think, when Kamara kind of put them on the back foot, I guess I get it, but I think aesthetically, yeah, you'd want them to handle it a little better.
As far as like being frustrated, I think he stated that he feels that, well, he knows that the offense is more dynamic with both him and Achane in the backfield. Not really more dynamic, but adds a different element to the offense. So I want you to tell me what you think on that.
Agreed.
And looking forward to seeing if you actually react to that video too. But yeah.
Yeah, I did react to it, and I do agree. I mean, even if it's just from a distraction standpoint, and there's a big difference between the defense seeing Alvin Kamara in the slot and Ty Chandler or Kendre Miller or Devin Neal or whoever. I like those guys too, but Alvin's Alvin, and even just from a planning perspective, a defensive perspective, there is definitely a difference in him lining up versus Audric Estime. Now, the result, if him and Estime get 20 halfback dives, the result might not be that big of a difference. But as far as just what you can do, being creative, especially with Alvin in the receiving game, maybe that's where he could be utilized the best, is just, be an extra route runner, be a guy coming out of the backfield running routes, or go line up at the slot, just be another mismatch, something like that. So I do agree that the team is better with him.
Man, I think the receiving core is looking good. I'm happy I think we have the best coaching situation in the NFC South, so to speak.
I agree with that.
And shoot, man, as far as that, I'm not really concerned. They say they got Sanko over there in the slot. He played not a lot, but majority not even really majority of a few snaps in the slot, in college.
Yep.
I also know that, him being a gunner in college, being, special teams captain, kind of helped him with, learning how to blitz and stuff like that.
True.
So just tell me what you think, man. Again, I'm going to do my regular Dwayne the Die Hard outro. Who that, we that, believe that. Peace.
Boom. There you go. Great call as always. Yeah, I mean, you're right. And it's what Sanker did in college and special teams, it will help translate to what he's being asked to do with the star corner role. So he's a perfect fit. But everything does look good, man. It really does. And I know I reacted to that video, but so hopefully you watched it and I went in a little bit more detail about everything you asked. But yeah, man, good call. Good call per usual. All right, next up is the boy, Baby Saint's dad.
Best in the business, face of the franchise.
Immediately using a blinker. Love to see it. We love to have safe drivers out there.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
So I was listening to your Jordyn Tyson video, the day after the draft, and I was listening to your thoughts about it, and Baby Saint's mom comes up to me and she goes, "Hey, you haven't been calling the face of the franchise like," and I'm like, "You're correct." She's like, "Why not?" I go, "I don't know. I have no excuse." So here I am.
Thank God for Baby Saint's mom to just keep you on track. Keep you on track, keep you calling in, keep you doing what you got to do.
Giving you a call as I'm doing a pokey run for Baby Saint's mom. Now,
Pokey run? Is that the Pokemon cards, or is that an actual Poke Bowl for full of raw tuna and raw salmon and other raw fish species? Or is that a couple packs of Perfect Order or Chaos Rising, the new Pokemon set? Or I guess could be a pre-order for Pitch Black. I don't know.
I don't want to ask you, hey, what are your thoughts on Jordyn Tyson? Because I'm sure I'm going to have plenty of those coming up, especially by the time you listen to this.
True.
But I guess I wanted to ask you, because I'm kind of looking at Jordyn Tyson. He seems like really unique. One, I think, barring injury, he is the best receiver. By far, he's the best receiver, the most talented receiver for sure. He has a weird thing where he's able to create separation in a way that it seems like you can't teach. Carnell Tate is just a fundamental wide receiver. Like, I think I see kind of like Christian Kirk. And with Mekhi Lemon, like, he's kind of being carried by that. Oh, he's just like a dog. Like, he just has like that attitude. And yeah, cool, great. But with Jordyn Tyson, it's the injuries. That's the problem. And the fact that he just plays a little scared. So my question is, if you could give me comps on Jordyn Tyson, one would be a positive comp, a realistic positive comp, and a realistic negative comp. So maybe not for sure like a bust, like, I don't know, a more athletic Cameron Meredith, but someone that you're just like, man, he wasn't a top, top 10 pick. And then like a realistic positive comp, like ironically enough, like,
I'll give you the comp. I don't want to do a negative comp, but because I don't want to put that in the ether. But the positive comp is Odell Beckham. Like, the way that he plays, he kind of has that weird, liquid, very fluid route running of Odell, and he does have some of that playmaker ability, the crazy catches, the insane acrobatics, things like that. He does play a little bit like Odell in that standpoint. So he's a guy, like, when I watch him, I see a lot of that. He is a little bit of a different player, but just the way he moves, just the way that he like uses his shoulders in his, like, sometimes when you look at receivers, sometimes receivers win routes with their feet, like their footwork, or they're really quick out of their gait, or they're really quick out of their cut, or whatever, and you can see it. They win with the feet. Like Tyreek Hill is a good example, right? Like he's winning with his speed, his feet, his athleticism. Antonio Brown was kind of like that too. And then some receivers win up top, and they win with their route and how their bend and how they almost trick you into believing they're running a certain route or doing a certain thing, and then all of a sudden it's almost like a dance. And Odell was very much like that. And I think Jordyn Tyson's got a lot of that in his game as well.
Hines Ward, his coach, or someone that's like a borderline
I don't think he's like Hines Ward.
Hall of Famer that you can kind of see him be like. So I don't know, man. I I'm trying to be positive. I'm very nervous. Yet, I can't wait to see him in a Saints uniform. So, but I would have preferred Caleb Downs for sure, or Ruben Bain. I leaned more towards Caleb Downs because he was a best player out of Ohio State with 3 top 10 prospects. So that's the way I would kind of rationalize it, like get Caleb Downs over Ruben Bain. But would I have preferred him? Yeah. Does it piss me off that Ruben Bain went to the second year? Is that great value? Yeah. But it is what it is. All right, brother. Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you, man. Great call as always. I mean, same thing. It's funny because like the same thing I said the day after the draft is the same thing now because Tyson has been quote unquote ramping up and he's been hurt or whatever, and not hurt, but dealing with his injury and trying to get to where he can go at full speed. But the chips are on the table, and the front office and the coaches have basically made the gamble and said if he plays, he's going to be really, really good. Now the question is, how much will he play? And I trust Kellen Moore. I love Kellen Moore. I'm holding out hope till he plays. I can't say anything yet, right? We got to wait and see. And the whole injury stuff, all that, that'll only be a concern when it's a concern. Right now, it's a concern, right? But once he gets out there, if he's playing, doesn't miss a beat, then it won't be a concern. So we got to wait a month to see him out there and to get into camp and to get into all that stuff. And then hopefully he's ready to roll for preseason, joint practices, and then obviously the regular season, and we get a full look at this. But the risk is there, big time, with Tyson, as far as the optics on the front office. If he picks up an injury, it's going to be, that'll be a tough one for the front office to kind of rationalize, as you said. But I want to show you this Odell thing real quick. All right, so here's some Jordyn Tyson. So let's watch this real quick, and then we'll go to Odell. But you see Tyson here. This is some of the acrobatics, the aerodynamics. But watch this, like how he's up, he's effortless, he moves around. Like those kind of plays right there. He's just effortless throughout the air. All right, and then same thing, like these super dynamic playmaking ability, mostly in the air. I mean, that's strong right there. I want to see if there's a route, like a short route, to where he wins with his shoulders. Where is he? It's at the bottom. We didn't see that. Same thing. All right, picks it up out of the air. Let's see. Man, I mean, these are all just like, these are incredible catches, but right there, he's diving midair, deep ball throw here, burns this guy, just eliminates the DB there. Let's see where he is here. Levitt, pretty nice there from Tyson, sliding into second base. Another one. Yeah, he's looking sweet right here. These are the games where he just dominates. He just takes over, dominates. Let's see this route. I wish they'd give me like a slow motion replay. But if you watch here, so like watch. All right, so he's down here, right? So watch his shoulders. Watch how he wins with his shoulders. He sells this move with his upper body. So watch the feint up top. I'll play it in fast motion. There it is. Like he's baiting the cornerback to the outside with his upper body, with his shoulders, feinting, and then comes in. Like he wins that completely up top, and that's a special thing to do. And like I think it was Paul Newman. I know they said that he acted with his shoulders. Like he was one of those guys who could do a scene, and his body language is so strong that he could act, a whole scene out without even saying a word, or just with his body. Let's see here. Paul Newman was in The Color of Money, right? That's what I'm thinking of. There's a pinball scene in The Color of Money that specifically is a call to that. All right, Tyson's up top, I think. Yeah, he's up top. Let's see what he does on this route. Same thing. I mean, right there, that's one of those ones where you're like, hey, man, don't do that. Don't do any of that, but we'll watch like one more. All right, so we've seen all these catches. So now we'll watch some Odell and tell me it's not the exact same thing. Now, Odell, yeah, I mean, I would like to see that route because he just lost 24. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, 24 just was on skates. Odell was special, man. He was it's crazy how short of a period of time that was. You know, how long ago that was to go back and think about. I mean, he had yeah, I mean, he's just selling up top. They look so similar when they run. Their routes look so similar. Their plays look so similar. Especially, I was hoping they were going to show a couple of these plays with him in the air, and that's what this is going to be. Oh, not this one. Good catch, though. A little sliding catch, similar to the one we saw with Tyson. Richard Sherman. What a time to be alive. Let's see what else we got here. There you go. That's him in the air. Again, similar to Tyson. It's Eli letting it go. Tyson, right? Like these look the same. They play the same. They attack the ball the same. They win in the air the same. They win up top the same. Their routes are, fluid the same way. Very, very similar type players. So I don't want to say best case scenario or best comp or ceiling or anything like that, but if you want this would be sweet if he played like blank, I think Odell is a good starting point. And there's differences in the play style and things like that, but if you watch enough, I mean, these highlights they're even almost situated the same, where it's like aerial ball, deep ball, sliding catch, diving catch, extended, so yeah, you watch some Odell highlights, you watch Tyson highlights, and you're going to see two very similar players. All right, next up is Carson. This is Carson Price. Now, this is from a couple months ago, so we may be getting into some pre-draft stuff, so but I do want to hear everyone's voicemail who sent in a voicemail.
Yo, James.
What's up, man? How's it going?
My boy.
What's up, brother?
The GOAT. Face of the franchise.
The best in the business.
I got a couple questions for you, brother.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know if you're going to hear this before the draft or not.
Oh, a couple months late. That's on me.
But Caleb Downs, 9.5 over under. Me personally, I'm slamming the under. I can't see a world he goes outside the top 9. And I really hope the Saints get him. But there's a good chance I think he might go before that. So I just want to hear your opinion on that. And also just basically your intake on things from a fan point of view. How would you want to see the backfield brand this year with Achane and Kamara and whoever else you think? But yeah, brother, just take it easy. Appreciate everything you do.
Thank you, man. That's a tough 9.5 is whatever, and you kind of got by the trade with Cleveland and Kansas City, but like him slipping past that second New York pick is just so wild. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if New York took him at 5, and the fact that they had a chance to get him again at 10 and they go Maui Noah, it's wild. But Downs was one of those guys, we said it in the draft process, that he could go 2, he could go 3, he could go 6, he could go 8, he could go, like, every single team is like, he could go here, he could go here, he could go here. And I think great landing spot. I think Dallas, great move there from them. I think win-win situation. And I think Downs will be a stud. I think he'll be really good. I think especially in the current NFL, his position is a premium. And he's not a safety. He's whatever the in-between is that players like Nick Emmanwori are. Like he's the new version of like whatever the best defensive back is. So I think Downs will be sweet, and I would not have been mad at all if he was a Saint, but it is what it is, and I'm happy with Jordyn Tyson too. As far as the running back situation, what was the question? How I see it playing out?
How would you want to see the backfield brand this year with Achane and Kamara and whoever else you think?
I think it should be 70% Achane and then sprinkle in the rest of them. I think Alvin's best utilized in specific situations, whether that's passing, receiving spots for him, or I don't want to say a decoy, but I think Achane should handle a majority of the load, and I think he will. I think he did that in Jacksonville. I think he got a lot of touches, and I expect him to do the same in New Orleans. But yeah, I would go into it that way. But I do like, I like Devin Neal. I mean, he just picked up a little bit of an injury, but I like him. I like Audric Estime, but I also think you got to get your best players the ball. And I wouldn't be sacrificing Travis Achane touches or Alvin Kamara receptions or whatever to get everyone a share of the pie. So I'd give a majority of the work to Travis Achane. All right, next up, let's go way back to behind enemy lines.
Meta Man.
What's up, dude?
FOF. What's popping, my dude?
What's happening?
Love you like a brother.
Oh, you too, man.
Question for you.
All right.
Well, before the question, man, let me just you killing it, bro. I've been listening to you every day.
Unbelievable.
2 years.
Unreal.
Even my babies look forward to listening to you. My 4-year-old daughter and my 2-year-old son. It's ingrained in them from hearing it every day.
I mean, this is the call of the year. This is the call of the year. I mean, I might have the flu. I just got goosebumps. Thank you very much, man. That means a lot. It really does. It means a lot.
Another little side note, my wife has a love-hate relationship with you because I'm always listening to you.
I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot. I'm starting to be worried that I've got too many wives in the Saints fanhood that hate when my videos play. But, at the same time, it's a family show. So sit down with the family, watch it. I used to watch when I was a kid. I feel like everyone that grew up in the 90s kind of has this, but I remember the show that we always watched like as a family kind of, and then it was time for bed, was the Wonder Years. It was like the Wonder Years would play, and then it was time, boom, hit the bed, and then you'd hear the news play, and the parents would stick back, watch the news, and that's when you knew the night was over. But the Wonder Years was that show for me. And now, the face of the franchise is that for households.
But on a side note, she did steal my Skrmetta coffee mug, so I think you good. I think she's more on the love side.
Great coffee mug.
Question for you, brother. With the draft coming up, I already know you said
hit me up behind enemy lines. Hit me up on Twitter, whatever. Get y'all an extra mug. Y'all don't have to share. Hit me up.
You wouldn't have a problem with us drafting Vega, drafting O-line, right? But my question to you is, personally, what would you do in this situation if Downs is there and Vega is there, and that's the only two options, top guys that's on the board at that time? Who are you going with and why? Appreciate you answering that question, brother. Looking forward to the new videos, man. Can't wait for the new season. I will be tuned in every single day, 2 times a day. Listening to you, brother.
Minimum.
And, keep killing it, man. Peace.
You know what's interesting? I like going back and listening to the draft questions because now we know a little bit more, and especially now that we've seen the roster really get fleshed out and how they're utilizing certain people. And what an interesting question, because when he first asked it, I thought, well, I'm going to say Caleb Downs. And riddle me this, ladies and gentlemen. Pretend, just like he said, you can have a choice of the two. You can either have Caleb Downs or Vanga Iyane. Now, you may snap call and say Caleb Downs, but I'm kind of okay with Justin Reed, Julian Blackmon, and Jonas Sanker. Can you imagine the offensive line of Kelvin Banks, David Edwards, Eric McCoy, Vanga Iyane, and Talise Fuaga? So I think, kind of surprised to myself even, but after thinking about it for 20 seconds, I think if I could go back and everything stayed the same and all the moves were the same and all that stuff, I think I would take Vanga Iyane over Caleb Downs if I could only take those two players. I am totally fine with how the defensive backs and the secondary is kind of set up right now. Having Iyane as your right guard would be crazy. Like that would probably be the best offensive line in football. I think it probably would be. If you're entering with Kelvin Banks, David Edwards, Eric McCoy, Vanga Iane, and Talise Fuanga, and you've got 3 of the 5 on rookie contracts with Fuaga, Iane, and Kelvin Banks, 2 of which are Oos. I mean, that kind of surprising. I did not expect to think that, but yeah, I think I would go with Iane if I could go back and it was either Downs or Iane at 8. Man, good question. That was a great question. I know you asked it 2 months ago, but it actually, I think, is better right now. I think the question is better served right now because we know what the plan was for Jonas Sanker and Julian Blackman and Justin Reed. Wow. Yeah, I would not have guessed, but I think it does make sense. So, interesting stuff. All right, let me know. We'll end it there. Let me know in the comments below what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Who would you go with in that spot? Would you go with Caleb Downs or Vanga Iane if you could only go with one? That's a great question. All right. Thank you for listening. I will see you in the next video. Peace.